Hey everyone, welcome to the All Stars Entertainment Podcast. My name is Colin, and joining me always
is Brian, and today, boy, do we have something that I've been waiting for a long time. It is a review, song by song, of Metallica's new album, 72 Seasons.
That's right, Brian. And it's not just any kind of review, it's an initial reaction review. We haven't heard any of these songs except for the preview songs that they've released. So here's what we're going to do. Since this is initial reaction, we're going to go track by track and give you our honest thoughts on this record. You know, the first listen is always very special, and I'm excited to share this opportunity with you, Brian.
Right. Obviously, there's an asterisk next to the singles.
Right, well, you know.
But this is our first time listening to the album from start to finish with these songs. We'll get a context of where the singles fit into the album and how they flow into the next song all the way to the end.
Yeah. Not much more to say about that. Let's get right into this music here. Let's start with the title track, 72 Seasons.
All right.
So this song to me, Brian, feels like an awesome throwback to some of their earlier work. What do you think about that?
I mean, as generic as the guitar solo is for Kirk Hammett, who seems to always play the same guitar solo every time, it did kind of give me Kill 'Em All, kind of Master of Puppets kind of solo feels.
Yeah.
It's a good song. My only problem is they do like a weird changing key after like the second chorus.
Yeah, it was very odd.
Yeah, I
mean, I vibed with it, but it was just a little odd when they went there. It was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, and it was a weird abrupt into the solo. There was no like lead, and it was just like they stopped on a power chord, and then it was just solo.
Yep.
Like I don't know, but it's a solid lead off.
It really is, yeah, and it talks really about how we feel the beginning of life and how we perceive that and how we can move forward and work through our traumas and everything like that.
Yeah.
I have a feeling this is going to be a very heavy and powerful record.
Yeah, I mean, James Hetfield openly admitted that, he put a lot of himself into this one, so.
Yeah, which is good to see him working through some things, and music is very healing, so I'm excited to see what happens on this record for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a good way to kick off the record, so.
Yeah. So let's talk about the next song on the record here, Shadows Follow.
So with this being the second track, you would hope it hits heavy, especially coming off of 72 Seasons, which was obviously the title track for the album and one of the singles. And boy, does this deliver.
Oh my God. As soon as it started, we looked at one another and we're just like, this was a great song.
Yeah. Throughout it, I was getting vibes of like Lars's drumming gave me like Black Album vibes, like Holier Than Thou kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the guitar playing stuff. And I know some people don't like Load and Reload, but the guitar stuff in that, there's some great stuff. And this song has all the good qualities from those two albums, and you can hear them.
Big facts, yeah.
The guitar play in this song, I think, is the best so far. And we're only 2 songs in, but.
To piggyback off what you said about 72 Seasons being Kirk playing the same solo every now and again.
Yep.
He doesn't do it on this one.
No, I mean, again, Kirk has always had those tendencies that he always does. He has his little hammer-on and pull-offs he does around, like, the 12th fret on, But it's just what he does. He does a lot of wah pedal, and again, that's some people's problem with Metallica is, all Kirk knows how to do is wah pedal and pentatonic scale. Well, yeah, but it works.
Right.
And obviously with this song, I feel like it works.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot more variety you can have with the pentatonic scale.
Yeah.
Less notes to work with, however, but there's a lot more variety you can do, especially with harmony and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of variations. I mean, obviously the main or the major and minor pentatonic scale, and obviously that's what Kirk plays a lot with. But with this one, it really worked, and I love... James Hetfield always has those nice guitar tones because he uses, I think his EMG 8485s on his, if this is the snake bite he's playing, it has that really nice bassy sound to it that you got from EMG 8485s is what he played, like, And Just For All.
Yeah.
And that's what I got on my, my Epiphone Explorer 84 reissue. And you get that really just great tone. And I mean, you could tell he's using the EMGs on this. I just don't know if they're the 8485s. With him using his signature model, he only really uses a couple pickups, but yeah, you got that really good, bassy hard tone coming through, and I'm not sure if they're still playing Mesa Boogie amps or if they've moved on to like the fractal audio systems that like Megadeth use now, but either way, the guitar tones that James and Kirk have in this just complement each other so good.
Absolutely. Another thing I want to bring up here, since you mentioned some of the bass, is actually Robert's playing of the bass on this song.
Oh,
Some of the best I've ever heard him play in his Metallica tenure.
Yeah, I mean, Robert really shines. See, the problem is you really got a taste for like what Robert was on like Death Magnetic.
Yeah.
And that's not really a good representation because he played with Ozzy and he's really good when he has the time to shine. And when you see Metallica live, they'll do like a bass solo because they used to do it with Cliff, then they did that with Jason, and they do it with Robert. And he can play like Cliff Burton solos, not like Cliff because nobody can play like Cliff, but he does a really good job. And Hardwired, you got a little bit more of Robert and what he can do. And this is just a continuation of like, yeah, Robert is a legit, heavy metal bass player.
Big facts. And that's something you definitely need. Also, Lars here, one of the things I really like about Lars is I feel he's really hitting that rhythm with James Hetfield with the vocals, especially into that hook of the chorus.
Yeah.
On this track. It's super cool.
Yeah.
Super cool here. It really accentuates James's vocal.
This is something we talked about when the singles were coming out and we were listening to them. And especially when Luxy Turner dropped, and when we get to that track, we'll expand on that. But just from these two alone, you can tell Lars is, I don't know if just because he's well rested or what, but he is just playing the best. I mean, I've heard, in my lifetime, because I didn't get to experience like the Kill 'Em All, Master of Puppets releases and stuff.
Right.
So he's killing it. I think this is the best he's been since probably the 90s.
Yeah, I would say so, especially going back in time and listening to some of the earlier Metallica records this past week. I definitely feel this is the tightest Lars has sounded in quite a long time. Maybe the tightest since And Justice for All, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I would say And Justice for All was like the last time that Lars was like prime Lars. Like he was killing it. And then, not to say all the other ones were phoned in, but Saint Anger. But
pan.
And Lars even admitted that wasn't the best choice. No. But Load and Reload, he has some really good moments. Like Memory Remains is a really good example of his, he can still play, Unforgiven 2. And again, with these two songs right now, I got a good vibe. Like, okay, he's playing like that.
Yeah.
So
naturally.
I'm excited for the resurgence of Lars.
Big facts. Can't wait to see him live when we see him this August.
Yeah, that'll be good. That's the first thing I said when the singles came out. I said if Lars plays like this live, it's gonna be the best show I've ever seen.
Big facts.
So this song, track 2, is I think it almost overshadows the title track and the first song, 72 Seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I agree with you there.
Which is good because obviously you're going to remember the title song, the first song, but then you also want to be like, yeah, with the second song, just wait for it.
Right. But I also wonder if they're going to have 72 Seasons serve to be like little foreshadowments of the rest of the record in its entirety.
Yeah.
Which is why maybe it doesn't hit, but once we hear the final project, we'll go back and be like, absolutely, that makes sense.
Right, yeah. I think with 72 Seasons, with that weird key change that we aren't the biggest fan of, we might get something similar in another song, and we go, I get it now. They were foreshadowing something.
Yeah, I like when artists do that, so I'm hoping that happens on this record.
Yeah.
But if not, it is what it is.
Yeah, if not, and we got to talk about the lyrics just a little bit. I think James knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
You could really tell, just by the lyrics alone, about how he could run away from his problems, but his shadows always followed. Mm-hmm. You could really tell he was opening up, whether it be, it's probably definitely related to the problems he went to rehab for, but who knows, it might be personal problems. He might be thinking back to like his problems with Jason or Dave, and he's just like, yes, I could run away and may have run away in the past, but my shadow always followed. Something was always there.
Right.
So
yeah, it's a very powerful metaphor as well, because I think a lot of us feel that in our daily lives as well.
Yes, and you had there was a moment where all the music stopped, and then James just had solo lyrics, and you loved that. You said that was a great way to emphasize.
Oh yes, the final chorus they did like a little thing where it's like I say no or something like that.
Yep, I say
all the
no.
music stopped. It was just James vocal, and I said that's impactful.
Yep, it all stopped. He said I say no, and it was a yell. It was amazing. It was a declaration. It was great.
It was a declaration.
It was it was good. So yeah, that was a great way to follow up 72 Seasons.
Absolutely. So Brian, the next song on the record is called Screaming Suicide, which was a preview track, but let's talk about that one as well.
All right. So obviously with this one being a single they released, I'm sure everybody's heard it. So this was one they wanted everybody here to get excited for the album.
Yep.
Did not disappoint. on both the single release and in the full album, and being in the third spot on the album itself.
Yeah, it really flows. Actually, I always thought the track started off odd with the quick like snare drum.
Yes.
And then going from Shadows Follow into Screaming Suicide
Makes tons of sense.
perfect sense. I even said it as soon as the song started. I was like, now I understand.
Yeah. I think we went back and listened to the 2 and the 3 just to see how it goes, and it was absolutely great the second time and a third time.
Yeah, it was a master flow. Really was. This is a solid song. Always has been, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, to me, this was always like maybe second or third in terms of the ranking of the singles.
Mm.
I always thought Lux Eterna was the best, although I really like Shadows now.
Big facts.
So, but yeah, I mean, this is a really solid song. It's in the perfect spot on the album, and like you said, that abrupt start it had when we first heard it just on a single, now that abrupt start makes sense.
Absolutely. So there was always like a master plan here when crafting this record. So
Yep.
don't understand how they released the singles, but maybe again that'll unfold as well.
Yeah, I'm sure they did it for a specific reason.
Right.
And I mean, I definitely think Lux Eterna being the first single release was the better call.
Mm-hmm.
But man, this one is definitely up there with those singles, and obviously where it is on the album in terms of just the drum work that Lars does, the dual guitars, the harmonizing of Kirk and James and Rob, they do a great job harmonizing the rhythm guitar and the bass throughout this song.
Before we dive more into the sonic structure of the song, let's talk about the lyrical content, talk about insecurities.
Yes.
I've heard this song probably about like 8 times or so, and this is the first time I really picked up on it being about insecurities and kind of dealing with that and grappling with that. And I think that just goes to show that in my listening experience of Metallica, there's sometimes with certain songs I just have to take like the 8 or 9 listens and just really digest the lyrics and what James is trying to say.
Yeah, and you said something really, really interesting to me, that it reminded you a lot of like Battery and Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
And that was a really like, if you go back and listen to his very deep cut album, had a lot to do with drug issues and stuff. And with this album and James coming back battling, his addiction to alcohol, you can really see the mirror there between Master of Puppets and the 72 Seasons. This song in particular is kind of like Master of Puppets, where the drugs were always pulling the strings.
Right.
And it was just a great part, a great thing that you mentioned.
Yeah. Like sonically it sounds like Battery to me in a certain level, but lyrically really shined like Master of Puppets did for me.
Oh yeah, I mean, and just the way the lyrics changed throughout the song. I mean, right at the beginning, you immediately get of like all of these insecurities that this person is dealing with, and they're like, "You're not good enough," but there is an answer, suicide, and it's like, okay, and then they just progress, and then at the end, I'm no longer needed here. It's just a great journey that this song takes you on.
Naturally, yeah. And it really highlights a very important and somewhat prevalent issue in today's culture.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Actually, it's not somewhat prevalent. It is prevalent.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is.
I would say it's definitely, with everything going on, insecurities and money problems and stuff, this song, battles, addicts and stuff, this song covers everything.
Absolutely. It really does. All right, moving away from the lyrics, talk about the sonics of this record here. One of the things that you mentioned and pointed out was how James is playing the quote-unquote bass part and Robert was playing like a mid part as well for like harmony. And I thought that was really cool. And I really think the layout on this song is super intentional.
Yeah.
And really elevates the song to a brand new level.
This is good because every now and then you got a lot of, some songs had some good bass parts in it. So far, these 3 songs, I think, really have brought Metallica back to the Cliff Burton days where the bass was there. Obviously, Injustice for All is unfortunately known for not having the best bass mixing.
Or if any.
So, and then you go through and like Saint Anger, not so much.
Yeah.
Load and Reload had some decent, bass in there. Black Album, they brought it back. Unfortunately, cut like Jason's bass solo and stuff, and they turned it into The God That Failed. They added stuff to it, but it's just awesome to see. Like, all right, here's Robert getting his time to shine. He has some awesome harmonies and stuff with James, and just the rhythm guitar and the bass just work together in great unison here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really just think that the song, while it has some dark lyrics to it, the way that they layer all of these different parts together really gives you a sense of hope.
Yeah.
I feel like. At least it does to me anyways. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously at first it gives you this, all right, I'm thinking I'm not the best, blah, blah, blah. And then you get into it and you're like, man, I don't know any way to escape this feeling. And then you get like that frantic in the middle part. And then at the end it starts to mellow out and not so much mellow out, but it's just a great flow of, like you said, just it portrays all the emotions, not just through the lyrics, but through the instruments itself.
Which is definitely the hallmark of a good quality song, and I think Metallica has truly hit it with this one.
Yeah, it feels like they're back to, Death Magnetic to me was kind of generic in a way.
Yeah.
Hardwired, it felt like they were getting back to their roots.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this is just a good continuation of rediscovering who they are as not just a band, but as Metallica.
Yeah. It definitely feels like they're rooted still in their upbringings and everything like that, but they're also willing to see how their roots impact themselves in 2023 and kind of extrapolate on that ideal.
Right. They show their growth, but they also say, hey, we know our roots as, thrash metal. And you get like these awesome combinations of riff styles from Kill 'Em All and Justice, Ride the Lightning Master, and you also get the new stuff of like, I'll throw the Black Album in there, and Load and Reload as we saw on the previous song. So it's just great to see that, yes, they do continue to evolve, but they also are not afraid to say, hey, we still know that we are rooted in this certain style, and we're not ashamed of it, and we're going to embrace it.
Naturally. Yeah. This is a really good song, by the way.
It's a good song. It was good when I heard it as a single, like I said before, and it's even better now, part of the album, especially following Shadows.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get into the next single, Brian, I do want to talk about the end of the song. You and I had that discussion about it where it was kind of odd, almost like Kirk and Lars traded parts for a quick second.
Right.
I just don't know how I feel about that. Like, it was just an odd choice, but is it worth the risk, do you think?
I mean, so just for context, the general drum track here is, one hit of the bass drum, and then he would do 2 hits of the bass drum, and that would switch. And here he just did a single bass hit, and it just sounded a little weird on the first listen, but we listened to it a couple times after that. It kind of grew on me, but you know what? Honestly, I think in terms of it is the risk versus the reward here, yes, because of what the song is. If the song wasn't about dealing with, insecurities and suicide and having these jumbled thoughts, I don't know if it would work, but it works here in the context of the song.
That's an interesting thought. I didn't think about that, how they intentionally kind of did that almost. Yeah, I like that thought. Yeah, I should start thinking like you more often. You have some good thoughts, man.
It's a scary thing sometimes.
Well, anyways, folks, here, let's move ahead to the next song. It's called Sleepwalk My Life Away.
So with this being the 4th track, you hope it serves as a follow-up, or a good follow-up to one of their singles, and also track 3. And let's say this song is about 90% awesome.
Yeah, I will concur with that.
There's a few questionable. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Kirk, I don't know what song you were playing your solo to, but it wasn't this song.
Listener, for the record, I would just like to mention when Kirk's solo hit the first time, Brian over here goes, "What song are you playing?"
Still don't know what song he was playing. It sounded like a Prince song.
Yeah.
It was not.
It sounded like a Purple Rain, Kill 'Em All mashed together, and it didn't work.
Did not work. Did not like it. Also, James's his vocal performance, at some parts to me were just not up to par from the first 3 songs. Yeah. Although his the lyrics were awesome, and the vocal in terms of like during the chorus and certain parts of the verse and pre-verse, great.
Yeah. There's a nice clean vocal that you don't always often get from James, but he's starting to integrate more and more, which I really like. But also this nice vibrato in the hook.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'd like him to keep doing that. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see more clean vibrato throw-ins on like maybe 2 or 3 songs. If however many albums they got left in them, I'd like to see 2 or 3 songs with that in it.
Absolutely. I think they got quite a few albums left, I would have to say. I know they're like almost 60. Well, Kirk is 60, but, you know, they're pulling stuff like this in their late 50s and 60s. Just imagine what they're going to do in their 70s and 80s, man.
I mean, we're 4 songs in, and this is already a really good start. This is probably definitely better than Death Magnetic. I would say it's closing in on, in terms of how the album started, of Load and Reload, because Load and Reload had some great songs in the front half, but the back half kind of fell off.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely, I'm not ready to say so far it's better than Hardwired was in the first 4 songs, but it's definitely getting there. The only problem for me was that Kirk solo. I don't know what that was. I didn't like it. Kill it with fire.
Fight fire with fire.
Jump in the fire.
Jump in the fire!
All right.
All right, anyways. But no, another thing I want to mention too, though, with Lars. I know we talk a lot about Lars, but his drum fill in the second hook of the chorus, oh my God. I didn't know what to say. I was just so starstruck and blown away by how tight Lars sounded on this song.
He, not only that, but he led the outro of the song, like the last maybe like 25 seconds of the song.
Yeah.
He leads them into like this, he just slows it down until it ends. Boy, did he nail it.
Yeah.
You know, he literally was like, all right, I'm the cue for you guys to start, you know, coming down a scale and slowing down.
Yeah. And even to get into that, he has this whole like da-da-da-da-da-da, and then it kind of like goes to this guitar harmonizing over like the intro that Lars and Robert had for this song.
Yeah.
Which is super cool.
Oh, yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah, this one, like I said, 90% good. The only thing that wasn't good was that the guitar solo was just so, it just felt out of place.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the solo and like, in almost, I'm just going to call it like an interlude of the solo, he had some great parts, but yeah, just the main solo, I was like, what song are you playing?
Right. Even you thought it was also out of time, because you like stopped and looked at me and said, is that out of time? And I said, I don't know, if the song is in 4/4, he's got to be in 5/4 or 6/8. There's no two ways about it.
Right.
And I still think that after listening to it twice.
Yeah, I don't know what Kirk was doing, but it's okay because James and Rob and Lars were all in time. They were playing great, so it's on Kirk.
I appreciate Kirk taking a risk. Doesn't work here, unfortunately, at least not for me. I mean, maybe on another listen of the record, it'll hit differently. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just trying to give Kirk the benefit of the doubt here, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, because this is the first time us hearing this song.
Yeah.
So, you know, right off the bat, we were blown away by the intro alone. And then as it went on, we were just like, this is getting better and better and better. And then Kirk came in and was like, all right, there it goes. And then, you know, everybody kind of brought it back in, and it was like, all right, we're finishing the song off strong.
Yeah, I agree. So, Brian, do you have anything else you'd like to say about this song?
No, I think that about wraps it up. Sorry, Kirk.
That's all good here. So the next track on 72 Seasons is a song called You Must Burn! ! Just for full disclosure.
All right, so with this being track 5, again, I feel like this is a running pattern here.
Yep.
How does it translate from Sleepwalk My Life Away and the most random guitar solo I've ever heard? Pretty well. Again, the vocal performance for James, at least in the beginning, was not super great for me. Instrumentation, though, throughout this song, especially, again, Lars, my guy. Let's just have a talk between me and Lars right now. This is the best I've heard Lars sound in a very long time. His work with Lars, your work on the snare in these 5 songs alone make up for Saint Anger. I'm going to say that now. But there are so many points in this song and the past 4 songs where Lars has just done some like drum fills or just work with double bass or snare or hi-hat that have just blown me away. So right now, I want to say Lars is back in, I'm not going to say prime form, but it feels like prime Lars is back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and Justice for All tour or Damage Incorporated tour or something like that, Lars is back.
If you can have 2 peaks in life, he's about to hit that second peak.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like,
So-
he's that 75-year-old guy climbing like Mount St. Helens or something, or whatever
something like that.
yeah, whatever hill that people want to climb nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's showing up in so far. So definitely, I think while James's vocal performance, first 3 songs were solid, 4 and 5 tracks, 4 and 5, kind of iffy for me.
He's taking risks with that clean vocal though, so
He is.
I understand that.
He's playing around with the clean vocal, and obviously with Sleepwalk My Life Away, we like that clean. Like he threw some vibratos in there. I like that. So he's really. It's almost like he's become more comfortable with his voice than he was in the past 2 to maybe 3, maybe even 4 albums.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying. Again, it seems like what you said, like Lars is experiencing that second peak of his career. It's almost as James is rediscovering that too.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much in terms of the vocal performance, but guitar. We got our first James guitar solo. And boy, was it great.
It's really cool.
I love me some James Hetfield guitar solos, especially like Master of Puppets when he did his little guitar solo before Kirk. Amazing. And he knocked it out of the park with this one too.
Yeah.
And in the back half of the song, his vocal performance, I feel like, me personally, brought it back up to where the first 3 songs were, and he was back.
Gotcha. For me, I'll be honest with you, Brian. I did not like the first half of this song. It felt too much to me like a retread of Sad But True rhythmically, and I just couldn't get behind it because I was like, I've heard this before. I don't want to hear this again. It really felt like it was da 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 with the Sad But True. It's just, I didn't like it. But once they hit that key change, I was all in.
Yeah.
I was sold. I literally even said, as we were listening to the song, like, why didn't you do that from the start? And it's, I gotta be honest. I don't often hate Metallica songs. I don't. But this one, I'm not a fan of.
No, all right.
I'm really not.
Yeah, I mean, it's not my favorite on the album so far, but it's one that, if I'm listening to the album, I'm not going to skip. I'm going to listen to it because it fits where it is. It's a good kind of, I feel like coming off of Screaming Suicide and stuff, and then you get into Sleepwalk My Life Away, it kind of toned it down. And then obviously the end of Sleepwalk My Life Away, where Lars kind of slowed everything down at the end, it makes sense going into this song.
Oh, for sure.
So again, track placement really on point, which was a main concern for me going into, when this album came out. I was like, I don't know how, just looking at the track list, how this is all going to fit in. So far, it's been top notch.
Yeah.
And this is not, again, like, it's not my favorite song on the album so far, but it works. And knowing what song is next, I'm interested to see, again, how that track placement fits in between Sleepwalk My Life Away and the next song, which, if you don't have anything else to add on this one.
I do have one more thing to add before we move ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
But I will say I did enjoy the journey of the song building to the end. I agree. I enjoyed the journey as much as I felt it was a retread. I did enjoy the journey. So
that key change was the change there, the shift in gears, if you will.
Yeah. And to be fair with you, I think, but when I go back and listen to this record again, I feel like I'm going to understand the key change. I'm going to understand why this song is the way that it is. So I'm really interested to see back how that sounds.
I agree.
So, but for right now, it's not my favorite song. I don't hate the song, but it's kind of up there. Unfortunately.
I guess. I've heard some bad Metallica.
Yeah.
This is not, in my opinion, bad Metallica. It's not great Metallica. It's floating around the good-ish category, if you will. Like, I got legendary, great, good, good-ish, and then Saint Anger. So, which I actually like 2 or 3 songs off that album. Right. So I try to find at least one song I like. Yeah. So this might be that one song I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
But I'll still listen to it on a full, if I put it on in the car, I'll listen to the whole album. I won't worry about that one.
Yeah. That's the thing. I'm definitely an album listener.
Yeah.
And I don't ever skip songs.
No.
I don't expect him to skip this song.
I don't think this is a deal breaker.
No.
So.
That second half of the song, like I said, really awesome.
Yeah.
It made the song worth it for me, but that first half was just like, ugh.
Gotcha.
I really wasn't a fan.
Gotcha.
So.
Well, speaking of the second half and how it picked up.
Yeah.
Now we're back.
Yeah.
Now we're into the next song, which is going to be Lux Eterna.
Absolutely.
They're the first single they released for this album.
Indeed, and it's going to close out side A of the record if you have the vinyl release as well.
All right, there you go. So track 6 on the CD, and on the vinyl it's there. So we've heard it. You know, we everybody kind of knows what to expect when you release a single. Everybody's going to be like, we're going to listen to it.
Yeah.
For me, this was the best single they released, personally.
Yeah, I'd tell you this. I liked 72 Seasons when they dropped it, and I thought that was the best, and Lux Turner was just right beneath it.
Yeah.
But after hearing this song again, I'm going to make that switch.
Gotcha.
And probably actually drop 72 Seasons a little bit lower.
Gotcha. So in terms of that, though, we've been talking about how track placement on this album has been really, really good.
Yeah.
Up until now.
Yeah, up until now, this worked, and then you got to Lux Eterna. It's just a tonal shift, I feel like, low-key.
It was super weird.
Yeah.
So you said this is going to end side A of the vinyl, you believe?
Correct. The first LP.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think if they cut it off at You Must Burn and then they started, you know, Lux Eterna on side B or whatever, it'd be much better. But just in terms of listening to it back to back, You Must Burn and Lux Eterna didn't hit for me.
No, it doesn't. They're two completely different songs to start off with.
It was like when you're at a concert, right, and you go to a bathroom in the middle of a song and you come back and they're playing like a whole other song. Like imagine going to the bathroom during like Fade to Black and they're playing like Master Puppets when you get back. You're like, all right, I don't know what happened, but I missed something.
Absolutely.
That's kind of like what this felt like to me. Is like we totally just shifted gears. There was no like easing into it like they did when you went from, you know, Screaming Suicide into Sleepwalk My Life Away and then You Must Burn. They had like a really good kind of like, especially with Sleepwalk My Life Away where they slowed it down at the end and You Must Burn was a slower tempo-ish, in the beginning at least. This one was just like, all right, You Must Burn ended, there was silence, and then it was like, yeah, it's like, all right, I guess we're just here.
This almost reminds you of like a live show. I don't know, like a lot of country music acts are famous for this, where they'll do like tracks 1 through 5 are like hard hitting.
Yeah.
And they'll take a second and stop, and the next you know it's like this piano ballad starting. You're just like, okay,
yeah.
I don't get this, but all right, but at least you took some time.
Right. I mean, sometimes though, especially live performances, they will be like, they'll do like a little thing where they're interacting with the crowd while everything is going on. Right. So at least you have some time to like adjust.
Yeah.
This was just like, all right, it ended. It was a somewhat slower song. It was, you know, kind of fast paced at the end, and then it was just like full stop.
And Lars said, "Was that all right?"
Lars said, "Was that all right?" That was my favorite part of the song.
Facts.
And then, yeah, and then was just like, "Was that all right?" And then Lux Eterna.
Yeah.
So maybe Lars is like, you don't get a chance to answer because I know it was all right.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you know, Lux Eterna, obviously, with it being a single, listened to it a million times, at least me personally. It's my favorite one. And yeah, it still hits just as good. But yeah, just the track placement for me was just so off.
Yeah. I really like the lyrics of Lux Eterna. I really digested them this go around, and I really enjoy how it's really about finding that light in the darkness.
Yeah.
I really like that, and I think that resonates for me personally at this point in my life as well. So
yeah. All of these songs in terms lyrically have really hit really good. You know, You Must Burn started off as who's the next witch you must burn, and then the next time James sang it, and the time after that he said you are the witch that must burn.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, got you.
Yeah.
I hear that. So I feel like in terms of lyrically, this is one of their strongest albums since probably Master of Puppets. Honestly, I mean, I guess Black Album, but Master of Puppets to me, in terms of we talked about before, was just so amazing in terms of the lyrics they portrayed. And same thing with Injustice for All. So I guess Injustice for All might be the last one for me. But yeah, regardless, definitely one of their best lyrically in a long time.
Yeah, and this definitely is more in line with the thrash metal that we've seen from Metallica. Not necessarily like, I don't want to say that like Saint Anger, Hardwired, Self-Destruct, and Death Magnetic were thrash metal, but they were more like hard rock to me, kind of.
Yeah, Saint Anger to me was more of, and I use this term in a loose manner, it was almost like an experimental metal, or like, or more, you know what, a better terminology would be like industrial metal. But then again, that's Rammstein, and they don't sound anything like that.
Maybe prog metal? Progressive metal?
Maybe. You know, it's weird. And I guess that might be something to praise Metallica for, is they were not afraid to say, you know what, let's just give it a shot. Didn't work, really, in terms of like album sales and, you know, fans, but it's an album that, again, people still talk about, regardless of it being for the bad or for the good. People still talk about it, and I think that's the goal.
Yeah, naturally. And I think people are definitely going to talk about 72 Seasons here. I mean, Lexi Turner already got people talking about this record.
Yeah. Again, it was this first single they released, and I remember that, you see everything on social media everybody was losing their mind or saying Metallica thrash metal is back.
Yeah.
So
that's what really got me pumped for this record. Like, when I heard Lexi Turner, I said, I'm ready for some old school style thrashing. And that's basically what we've had across this entire first half of the record.
Yeah, and again, we've had some songs, like, I will say that Screaming Suicide to me and Shadows Follow, those gave me some old school, like, the best of Load and Reload vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always good. So it feels like, it's almost like Metallica is redeeming themselves for, what the fans were like, this album wasn't good because of this. And like, well, we're going to take the best from this album, show our growth throughout the years, and give you this great product.
Right.
So, again, You Must Burn, you weren't the biggest fan of.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I think it's still a solid song. And Lux Eternal, solid song. Wouldn't have put them back to back like they did, but hey, they're still good songs.
Right. So, Brian, before we get into the back half of this record,
yes,
if this record was just the first 6 songs, how you feeling right about now? Is this a worthy successor to Hardwired Self-Destruct as of the moment, or not really?
Much better. I'd say it's much better than Hardwired. I did like Moth Into a Flame. I really like that song, especially like when they did it with Lady Gaga at the Grammys. Unfortunately, James's mic cut out on the actual performance, but if you watch the sound check, you actually get the full experience, and it was amazing. But Hardwired to Self-Destruct was a great song. I saw them live for the Hardwired to Self-Destruct tour that they did, and that, to this day, is still my favorite concert and most entertaining concert I've ever been to.
Well, hang on here. August, you're seeing them back-to-back on a Friday and Sunday.
Exactly.
So you never know.
That's why I said right now.
Right now. All right. Cool.
So, but how are you feeling? Are you feeling this is a worthy successor to Hardwired, or is it, has it outshined your expectations or underperformed?
As of the moment, I'm feeling really good that this is a worthy successor to Hardwired or Self-Destruct. Again, so far, not really feeling You Must Burn, but, maybe once this record is complete, I'll understand where its placement is.
Right.
So,
yeah, because we're 6 songs in on a 12-track album.
Right.
So, again, we're at the halfway point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like your, I like the thought process of maybe side B, if this was a record or something where, he had the 2 sides. It would make sense to put Lexi Turner in as the first one coming off of You Must Burn. But then again, we haven't heard the other songs. We don't know where they're going to fit in yet. Maybe if Darkness Had a Sun would have fit better after You Must Burn. That might be something to look into later. But as of right now, I like 5 out of the 6 selections of where they put the song.
I like the way you phrased that. But yeah, I definitely feel like this is up there with some of their, like, the first 4 records that they had.
Yeah.
This is up there.
I mean, obviously, you don't have Cliff Burton. You're missing that just
absolutely
amazing Cliff Burton sound.
Right.
And I admit it would be nice to have on, say, Screaming Suicide or Shadows Follow, have some Jason, back vocals. Mm-hmm. But all in all, I think this is a really solid first half of the album.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm super excited to get into side B. So, Brian, what do you say we get into it?
I'm ready. And for the first song off of the second half of the album is Crown of Barbed Wire.
Let's do it.
So, track 7. For us, we really enjoyed about 97% of this song.
Yep, that's about right.
Yeah, so I absolutely think that this is James's best lyrics so far. His lyrical performance, not lyrics in general, but lyrical performance.
Big facts, dude.
Guitar tones in this, amazing. Just James's guitar is just so heavy, and it fits with Lars so perfect. Again, I feel like I just keep repeating myself, but Lars is just so good in this album so far, 7 tracks in. James, his guitar just sounds amazing. I assume he's playing his Snakebite signature model. I'd really be interested to see what guitars he recorded these songs on individually, because all of them just sound so clean, so good. And I use the term clean loosely because they're heavy, they're really good tones. And again, those are the EMG pickups that he uses. So, yeah, 97% of the song was good. But you really, to a point, you like this one a lot. I can tell by your initial reaction to it and throughout.
Absolutely. Like, the initial opening line of this song is, "So tight, this crown of barbed wire, it's destiny I wear." That hit me right in my soul.
Yeah.
So much so that I had goosebumps. I was like, oh, I am all about this song right now.
And his and by his, I mean James, the way he, like, tweaked his vocals and did a little vocal run at the end of the chorus every time.
Yeah.
Got me every time.
Actually,
it was so good.
The final chorus where he goes, "So tight!"
Yes.
This crown of barbed wire. I tell you, I did not do it justice, but let me tell you something. That, right there, I want him to do that live.
Yes.
Every single night.
Absolutely. So with this song, I'm not 100% sure what tuning this was. To me, it initially sounded like a drop D tuning. It could just be a simple half step down, and their guitars just sound that good.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if they're gonna play it live, I would assume it would probably be in the same tuning as what they played it here, and you'll probably get that vocal run and that vocal range from James.
I mean, usually they tune down half a step, but I feel like this should be standard tuning. Well,
yes.
well, a standard to the song. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. So the concert I went to, the Hardwired to Self-Destruct tour, they did pretty much all their songs half step down. I know this because I grabbed my half step down EVH Frankenstrat replica and matched the tone. I was like, yep, this is where we're at. They're a half step down, and it worked. Sounded great.
Mm-hmm.
James could keep up. But yeah, this was a really good follow-up to Lux Eterna.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good start to the second half of the album.
Yeah. And initially, I suggested before we even listened to the song, I was like, what if we switch this song with Lux Eterna? Before hearing the song. As soon as the song started, I said, nope, this is a great follow-up to Lux Eterna.
Yes, great follow-up to Lux Eterna. Still, I don't like the placement of Lux Eterna. Maybe as we get through the album, we'll find a replacement.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There's got to be a story here, Brian, I'm telling you.
There is. This album, in terms of just the deep meaning of the lyrics and all of the parts, the drums, the guitar, the bass, they all have a meaning.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a feeling that You Must Burn in the Lux Eterna signifies something.
Right.
A change in attitude or whatever. There's something there that we're just not picking up yet 7 songs into. Right. And I'm excited for when we figure it out.
Absolutely. I'm also thinking, I know we don't like some of these Kirk solos, but I'm wondering if they really have a place somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm wondering. Like, I keep looking at that title, Room of Mirrors, and I'm just wondering. I'm speculating.
Yeah.
Maybe. Just maybe.
So, for me, again, I'm going to hold judgment until we've listened to every single song.
Okay. Fair.
But we've talked about the growth of James and Lars and the band. Kirk is the only one that I feel like so far, 7 songs in, has not grown.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he held this song back. That solo to me was just so out of place. It brought me out of the song.
Really?
And yeah, it really did.
All right, yeah.
But then when they got back into it, when James brought his, and Kirk and James harmonized, and obviously James and Rob underneath the solo, spot on, loved it. But just Kirk's solo just kind of brought me a little bit out of it. I said, man, this song was so good until that point.
Yeah.
And it's not just a part of the solo for me. It was the entire solo. Kirk's entire solo was just not right.
See, for me, I liked the start of the solo, but then once he started doing all the whamming and the going up and down, doing all the scales and stuff, I said that doesn't fit. I don't like it. But it wasn't enough to take me out of the song. It's just I didn't see how it really fit melodically together.
No, to me, it felt like this song was, again, I hate to keep repeating myself, but it gave me, Load vibes from Load, like 2x4 or Ain't My Bitch or those songs. And then just Kirk threw this solo in that was straight out of some kind of monster or something. And I'm like, what is this? So, I don't know. For me, it just seems like 3 out of the 4 band members have grown especially during the off time that they had and when we were writing this. And Kirk is just like, I'm going to write this solo, and it's going to be a lot of hammer-on and pull-offs and whammies, just like I've always done my entire career. So, I just feel like this song, Kirk held this song back in the solo.
You know, Brian, something that you just thought about here. When you said that all of the other three members have grown, I wonder if, and this is a bit of a stretch, and I'm going to preface that by saying that, but I wonder if we're going to see every band member kind of grow throughout this record. So maybe the start of it was you get to see Lars right away. Then you got to see Rob. Now you're getting James. So maybe like in the forthcoming tracks, we'll get to see Kirk kind of grow and all come together at the very end of the record.
Yeah.
Again, I'm thinking there's got to be some sort of musical journey here, musical story happening.
Right. Again, in terms of just my interpretation of it, I've already experienced, me personally, the lyrics of James has shown me the growth. The drums, Lars. Again, one-on-one with you, Lars. You're killing it, man. This is seriously my favorite album that you've done in a very long time. Rob is really shining.
Yeah.
I mean, the bass hasn't gotten this kind of shine since Cliff. Jason unfortunately got thrown into the background, and you hear his backing tracks on his backing vocals, and he's like out of this world.
Yeah.
But Rob, in terms of bass playing, is phenomenal so far. Mm-hmm. And
you really hear it in the mix.
Which is
really awesome to hear.
It's great, and I love it. And I feel like a lot of when they were remastering, their first 4 albums this past, was it 2 years? I think they spanned it out, Kill 'Em All through Black Album. I think they remastered.
Yeah, I think yeah.
They really boosted the bass and the kind of cleaned the guitar a little bit, and they boosted the vocals a little bit, and it just sounded a lot better. Obviously, as technology expanded, but this right here, I'm like, this is great. This is really giving the time for the bass to shine that you haven't had since the Cliff Burton days.
Right. And it's funny you mentioned the remasterings they just did, because I know the vinyls I have of the first 4 records are like the 2008, 2010 era vinyls, where they remastered them then. And they really sound like they're from when they were originally pressed onto vinyl. So to have the new remasterings that I'm hearing on all the digital platforms, it's really cool.
Yeah.
But I still have a soft spot for all those early recordings on like the vinyl.
Oh yeah. I mean, I like the remaster that they did of, the original, demo releases and stuff, where you got like the Dave Mustaine and Ron McGovney recorded tracks and stuff, like literally the original Garage days where they were playing in Ron's garage. But yeah, it's just, I feel like 3 out of the 4 band members to me have really impressed me, and Kirk is the only one to me that has not impressed me at all. In fact, I feel like, especially for this song, for You Must Burn, Sleepwalk My Life Away, his solo has just really taken me out of the enjoyable experience I've had of listening to these songs.
That's fair, man. I understand that completely. I get that.
Yeah.
Like I said, for me, not as much, but then again, you're definitely a more versed and a longer fan of Metallica than I personally have been. And I know I've said it before on this podcast as well. I've been a more Megadeth fan than Metallica fan myself, but I still love Metallica.
This is my favorite band of all time, so I'm a little overcritical, but I also try to find the positives in every album. The only one I couldn't find was Lulu. Sorry, hated it, terrible album. But, that's why I feel like I'm listening to these and I find, especially with Crown of Barbed Wire, I was like, I'm immediately getting right out of the album Load vibes, right out of the bat. I'm like, this is great. It sounds awesome. James's vocals. Oh my God, James's vocals in this, again, just to recapitulate, were fantastic. But as soon as Kirk started playing a solo, I'm like, it's a Kirk solo. And they started doing these hammer-on and pull-offs again. And I'm like, it doesn't fit the song.
Yeah.
I could have used a really good, just melodic solo.
Yeah. Or even just a couple nice whammy dives might have really helped as well.
I think the hammer-on and pull-offs killed it for me. Really did. It was just too fast of a tempo for a solo to be in this song.
Yeah. Well, if you're all set on Crown of Barbed Wire, I think we can move on to the next track.
Yeah, let's get right into it.
All right, so on this next song, let's hope that Kirk can do the name of this song. It's called Chasing Light.
And boy, Con, let me tell you.
Okay.
Kirk did it.
I know, right?
Oh my God. Oh my God. So it took him 8 songs.
Listen, am I right? Am I right? Might be too early to tell. But is Kirk Going to be the last one to grow here as a member?
I hope this is the spark. Now, we know what's next.
Yes.
Is his solo on that the best? In my opinion, not really. Okay? Again, how does it fit in following this?
Exactly.
We're going to find out. However,
before we get there, we got to talk about this song.
That's correct. On this song, Chasing Light, track 8, follow-up to Crown of Barbed Wire. This is the most complete song by all 4 members of the band on the record so far.
This might actually be my favorite song on the record thus far. I like everything coming together on this song.
Yes, I was going to say the same. I think this might be my favorite song. For me right now, I think the top 3 sitting right now is Chasing Light, Lux Eterna, Shadows Follow.
That's 3-1?
3-1.
Okay,
or,
gotcha.
or 1 to whatever. This is number 1. Chasing Light is number 1. Lux Eterna number 2. Shadows Follow number 3.
Yeah. Okay.
But this is definitely, in my opinion, the most complete in terms of all 4 members of the band are on point. Every member of this song, at least once from me, got a "oh my god" moment.
I'm telling you, Lars is trying to go to jail because everything he's doing on this record is so illegal when you think about Lars.
Yes. He has broke every rule that everybody knows Lars for.
Yeah.
He is on time. He is just playing everything far beyond what everybody thought he was capable of at, what is he, 60 now?
Oh, just about, I think. Might be 61.
He's up there.
Yeah.
He's killing it. I feel like if we go see Lars in August, he's going to have a full head of hair.
Big facts.
You know what I mean? So, no,
Also,
but this to me, this was, I don't think I've ever been this hyped up after hearing a song for the first time by Metallica in a very, very long time.
Yeah, I think the only time I've been like this was when I heard the song Ride the Lightning for the first time.
Yes.
I think that was the only other time I've been like, oh, yes, this is a song. This is going to be on my playlist forever.
Yeah.
So, I really love this. I really like how everything, again, is just layered on this song.
Right. And you know what? Honestly, with You Must Burn and the Lux Eterna, I still don't dig it so much, but Lux Eterna, to Crown of Barbed Wire, to Chasing Light, is, again, we're back on that. They nailed it with the placement of tracks.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
and also, just one quick note also. The fact that Kirk's solo, while yes, simplistic, but boy howdy, does he take the simpleness and really just run the gambit on everything with it.
This is what I would have liked from him on Crown of Barbed Wire, and what would have made that song better, is he played along with the song.
Yeah.
It's amazing what you can do when you play along with the other members of your band.
Absolutely. I mean, the solo on this is just about a scale. Maybe a scale and a half, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's definitely in the pentatonic scale. He's not doing anything super crazy, but the fact of the matter is it fits, and it is just perfect for what James is playing, what Rob is playing, and what Lars is playing.
Right. And speaking of James, the lyrics on this song, I think, really reflect his personal life, how he kind of threw away the Christian family that he had and kind of was searching for some sort of light. And I think these 2 songs, and probably the next song, as a complete trilogy of songs together, will definitely show how James is able to kind of overcome that.
Yeah, his lyrical performance in this song is number 1 for me so far. Just I'm going to say that right now. It was just, it blew me away.
Yes, he's blown away. You see his mind? No, you don't. It's over in the next county.
That's right. Speaking of next county, we're going to move on to the next song, which is also another single that they released.
That's right.
Track 9, If Darkness Had a Sun.
Let's go.
So for this one as a single, I enjoyed.
Okay.
As a follow-up to Chasing Light, I also enjoy. I enjoyed a lot more than I did when it was a single. Kirk solo, still don't like. Still at some points felt like it was just not right.
See, now this one, though, I really like Kirk's solo.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I just feel like there's another story that Kirk's telling with the guitar. And to me, I think it pairs nicely with the lyric. I don't know why.
Okay.
I just do. I feel like it goes hand in hand, but that's just me.
Yeah. Again, interpretation is everything.
Yeah.
So you interpret it that way. To me, I was listening to it and I said, some points Kirk was just playing stuff, and I said, I don't think he knows where he is.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, you like it. I like 95% of this song. Actually, you know what? I'd go and say I like 99% of it. There's just certain parts of the solo where Kirk was playing, and I'm like, that didn't need to be there. It has no business being there.
Is it the whammy that you don't like?
No, it's the random hammer-on and pull-offs that he always does in every song that he ever does. And it just didn't fit. Like, he was playing, he was harmonizing with James. He would, kick it up a couple, keys or whatever and harmonize with him. But, like, it was just like, why do you need to play that right there? Like, he was just playing fast to play fast. I just don't get it. And that's my biggest problem with Kirk throughout the years is he'll do a song, and, James and all them and Lars, especially, again, Lars killed it on this song. But it was just like, Kirk was just like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and just go, wow, diddle-diddle, diddle-diddle, and it's just like, you don't need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't needed at that point. You were perfectly fine where you were harmonizing and just kind of matching with James. But no, he just decided to play fast, and it just didn't fit with me.
Okay, I understand that. It makes sense to me anyways. Like, I can empathize with that.
Yeah. I think if you're listening for it, you'll hear it, but if you're not listening for it, you won't hear it.
Yeah.
And coming off of Chasing Light, where I was like, Kirk has redeemed himself. He's back. I was all on board with your whole, all right, now it's Kirk's time to show his growth. Mm. And for me, it just took me out of it.
Speaking of that, I was looking back at the track list, and I was like, where have they pulled songs from as preview singles? And it looks like they did the title track. The next song you hear was track 3, track 6, and now track 9.
Yeah.
And they're all different, but all the same at the same time, low-key, which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, back to the whole thing that we agree on, with the exception of Lux Eterna coming off of 5. I was just like, you know what? It doesn't fit, but I guess there's a bigger, picture. Mm-hmm. This definitely, again, is a perfect place for this track.
Yeah, for sure.
As soon as, Chasing Light ends and Darkness Had a Sun kicks in, you're like, got it. It works. It fits perfect. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. I don't think there's much more to say about this song. It's been out in the world for quite some time, and, I think it's, it flows with the record. That's, what more could you want at this stage of the record?
It fits where it is. Yeah. It definitely isn't out of place. It definitely works, so I'm interested to see how it flows into 10. And from track 10 to track 12, these are all new songs for us and for the world who really only heard the singles. So,
yeah.
With that in mind,
let's get right into it here. This track 10 called Too Far Gone.
So, yeah, Kirk kind of messed it up again.
Yeah, he kind of did. I gotta be honest with you, I wasn't vibing with this song. Really reminded me of Megadeth. As a matter of fact, as soon as the song started, about the first 30 seconds, I said, it's just Megadeth. Like, 13 era Megadeth.
Okay, so you said Megadeth. So for me, the first thing I thought of was No Remorse from Kill 'Em All. Just gave me the vibes from that song. Crazy. It was just amazing. I was like, I heard this song. And sure enough, I was like, yeah, this is No Remorse. That's the basic riff for No Remorse.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So, with that aside, I think the song is good. It's a good follow-up to If Darkness Had a Sun. But yeah, I mean, we've heard it.
Yeah.
So.
And now that you say that, I'm thinking about the song No Remorse, and I just go, yeah, this is basically when you sample your own song into a new song.
Yeah, I mean, there's even parts of, like, the chorus is... Yeah, it's like, we've heard this.
Right.
So, yeah, it's just... It is what it is.
Is that intentional, given 72 seasons? Potentially?
I think with the amount of callbacks, especially with when I've been listening to this, I've just been like, yeah, this is like Load, or this is Reload, or this is Black Album, or Master Puppets, whatever. I think this is an intentional callback, and I don't hate it. It's just I immediately was like,
I've heard this
before. I've heard this. I know how to play this on the guitar. Yeah. And sure enough, I was like, yeah, this is just No Remorse, but they stopped, and then they threw some other stuff in there in between, and then they went right back to the No Remorse riff.
Yeah. And I didn't mind the transition from If Darkness Had a Sun to Too Far Gone, but as you said, it just... I've heard this. I've heard this done before.
There was a split second where I was like, is this Kill 'Em All? Did I miss, click? Yeah. Are we listening to Kill 'Em All? But no, it was just that, and sure, it sounded really good, and I enjoyed where it was in terms of the track placement, and the lyrics were good. James killed it. Lars did it again. Rob was out of this world. Kirk had 85% good, being generous. But yeah, it was just, I was like, I've heard this.
Yeah.
So, again, it could be a callback, and I'm interested to see if like James comes out and was like, yeah, we intentionally did that, and I'd be like, okay, I accept that.
Cool. I mean, we have 2 more songs figured out for our own self here, so if you got nothing more, I think we should move on to track 11.
I'm ready to move on. So what do we got?
All right, this song is called Room of Mirrors, and remember earlier, a couple tracks back, I said maybe this has got something to do with Kirk here.
Yeah, so this is according to you, the moment where Kirk either shines or is same old wah-wah man.
Yep, so we'll find out, and I'm hoping maybe for something cool, given the title.
Let's see.
So we'll find out. And boy, did we find out, because let me tell you something. This song reminds me of why I first listened to metal. Reminds me of the first time I heard Metallica. It was effing amazing. I censored it. You're welcome, America. No, but here, like, listen here. One of the things I love about thrash metal in particular, and the Big Four, is that it's speed, and it never lets up on anything. It's just full throttle all the way. Like, this is a song I could just turn on and headbang to, which is exactly what I did. Not gonna lie, I did. Brian's a witness.
He was going crazy.
From the second this song started, I'm like, I'm all in. I don't care what happens. I love the lyrical structure. I think everything, again, is layered absolutely beautifully. And I just really can't wait to see this song live and where they take this song live. Lars, man, one-on-one between you and me right now. Keep doing whatever the hell it is you're doing, because, man, you are amazing. Kirk, I got to tell you, man, you're selling me here all the way. This is a great song. I just got to, like, take a second to digest it. So, Brian, please tell me your thoughts while I kind of just, take it all in.
Yeah, so Kirk, I feel like Kirk's solo was good in this one. It was not the last song, Too Far Gone, was not a great one for me. But yeah, this was a really good solo for Kirk. Again, it gave me Kill 'Em All vibes. So I almost feel like they're almost running through their discography, maybe not so in reverse, because there's been load and reload and whatnot in the first couple songs, but these last at least 2 songs for me have just been like very Kill 'Em All. Obviously with No Remorse in the last song, I was like, this is No Remorse. I know what this song is. But yeah, this one was up there. James's vocals were really good. Obviously Lars, one-on-one, nailed it. You're my guy. Let's hang out. What you doing next week? But seriously though, this song was really good in terms of the harmonies and the guitar. Robert, I feel like, is not going to get, again, enough credit for just how great he is in terms of his just simple bass tracks that he lays down and just perfectly complements James's rhythm guitar. Mm-hmm. It was just fantastic. And James's vocals in this one. I'm surprised he didn't say anything about James's vocals. I feel like this is probably second or third on this album in terms of his vocal, his best vocals.
Mm-hmm. And Brian, the reason why I didn't say anything about his vocals is because they didn't have enough time to digest this song. Like, oh my God. So I'm sorry to the listener if I was all over the place. This is an amazing song. But no, I loved his vocal. Again, that clean vocal really coming through. But even still, there's just like a hint of like raspiness, which is so cool to hear. And I really just enjoy how he's leaning into entirely the message of the song, which I think is something he hasn't necessarily done in the last couple albums. So it's nice to have that back. So I really feel that on Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, hell, even Injustice for All. So I think you're onto something here when you talk about that they're kind of making a comeback to those records in their discography, but they're also elaborating on that as well. So this is a really good song.
This is a good song. This is a solid album. The only thing I think we had a problem with was, track 5 to 6.
Yeah.
And even then. So again, I'm still kind of on the fence about Kirk. Mm-hmm. But as soon as I say something like I don't like his solo, then next song he hits me with a good solo.
Right.
So I just feel like, to me, again, I'm going to say it, 3 out of the 4 members of Metallica in James and Lars and Rob are on point, knocking it out of the park every song. But Kirk, to me, is just, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
And listener, again, remember, this is our initial reaction. Like, we listen to the song all the way through once, and then we might go back into the song and kind of pick out different things that we noticed. But it's just like one listen. So for only one listen to this record, I think we're doing pretty solid. And I just can't wait to see how down the road, once we live with this record for maybe a couple days or so, we'll have maybe different thoughts about Kirk or, different thoughts about some of these songs. So I'm interested. And I think we'll probably cover this album again, just like as a, This is all in. This is how we live with the record for a couple of days podcast down the road.
Right. I mean, this is initial. The album just came out today. So this is our first time hearing 3/4 of the album.
Yeah.
So, and again, these last 3 songs are our first time hearing them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, in terms of this song, I feel like Kirk, his solo was, again, like I said, good. Everybody was good. But yeah, I don't know. Just Kirk to me on this album so far has just been hit or miss.
Yeah. Well, I tell you this, Brian, I'm ready to move on to my most anticipated song on this record. It's the closer. It's called Inamorata. And for whatever reason, I'm always excited when songs are like 11 minutes, 12 minutes long. Because I think that's really speaking to the musical technicality, also virtuosity that Metallica possesses. So I'm ready to experience this. And I've always loved Metallica closers, so
oh yeah,
I'm hype.
I mean, all the longer songs like One and Master of Puppets and stuff like that have always been like so great because there's been like 3 or 4 sections of the song where you're like, you know, you're listening with somebody who hasn't heard it for the first time. You're like, oh, but wait until this part comes up, and I'm hoping that this song right here is going to give us those moments.
Yeah. If I get like something better than Call of Cthulhu, I'm gonna lose it. I'm just letting you know that right now.
Yeah. Call of Cthulhu was a great way to kind of wrap up Ride the Lightning.
Yeah.
So,
Which again is my favorite record of Metallica's.
mine's Kill 'Em All. So again, even though, you know, Too Far Gone sounded like No Remorse, I dug it. So I'm hoping that maybe this, you know, this last song, with how they've been throwing it back to all the albums, they kind of throw every album into one, and I'm interested to see if they do that and how they do that.
And Brian, I think you're absolutely onto something. So I tell you what, I'm excited to hear this song. Let's get into it. Let's talk about Inamorata.
So for me on this one, I got just Garage Days vibes.
Yeah.
You know,
right from the get-go, it's like back in the early days.
You know, I put together like Motorhead with, I heard a little bit of Stone Cold Crazy in there. And to me, what this song is just like an homage to who influenced them. Right. So
that's the vibe I'm getting myself here, Brian.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, while I got all that, and I have a slight issue with one part in Kirk's solo, the main solo. But other than that, I feel like this song was good. I kind of want to hear what you have to say, because you were the one looking forward to this one.
I was very excited for this song, and it does not disappoint. Let me tell you right here now, standout lyric for me is "Resentment like a cancer grows." For some reason, that just really hit me, and I feel like I can understand what James was going through at that particular moment when he had that lyric in his mind. Also, for the record, Inamorata, I looked it up. It basically means somebody's female lover. Okay. So that's what the song means. Now, going into that, that's what intrigued me about the title. And I feel like the story of this song is really about how James kind of felt like he was in love with misery, but then he comes to realize I'm not at all in love with misery, and I want to break free of that and discover what it is exactly I'm living for, because by about like the halfway point of this song, it's basically misery, she's not what I'm living for. And I really, really enjoy that.
Yeah.
That to me really is a standout moment. This song in general is just a standout moment for me. Like, I really enjoy the last 2 songs. Like, Room of Mirrors makes me realize why I got into metal and what I continue to go back to metal for. Inamorata reminds me of the softer side of metal and what I really enjoy about the technicality of metal for me.
Yeah. So your line was, "Resentment like a cancer grows"?
Correct.
So for me, when that happened, at least like a cancer grows, my immediate thought was Simon and Garfunkel.
Yes.
Sound of Silence. Silence like a cancer grows. Again, and that, I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it kind of feeds into the whole thing that I was kind of feeling was, this is the song of paying homage to who influenced Metallica. So, again, that was just something that struck me as like, okay, I get it.
Yeah. Have you ever read that Kirk Hammett is influenced by some of the like kind of like jazzy guitar players?
Yeah.
So it kind of now makes sense with some of the stuff he does on the record. Doesn't necessarily work all the time, but I understand it and I have more of a appreciation for it.
Right. And I've been a little harsh on Kirk this podcast.
Have you?
No. But it just sometimes when he does these random things, I'm like, okay, I guess. It doesn't work, but whatever.
Yeah.
But then again, every now and then he hits it. This one to me, it was 99.9% perfect. There was one point in the main solo where he did that little hammer-on pull-off run that he likes to do. Just did not fit with the tempo, with the message, with everything going on in the song.
To that end, though, he did kind of go into a bit of a higher octave for that whammy pull-off run, so maybe it's the higher octave that didn't really work?
Maybe. Again, I don't know. It's just everybody kind of fit, the roles that they were in this song, except for Kurt in that one part. I'm like, why are you doing this to the song? Mm-hmm. And not in like a negative way, but why is this needed here? Why do you need to do this run? Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Maybe like you said, he was influenced by like the blues and the jazz, where they kind of like, just kind of like, all right, I'm just gonna, riff over and do whatever I want to do. Right. But it has to work. You have to have a flow. Like you have to have that, the Count Basie flow, or you have to have the Ella Fitzgerald or the, Louis Armstrong kind of deal, where you can just kind of like, all right, I know what scale we're in, I know what tempo we're in, I know what the context of the song is. Let me throw my own mix in there and do what I got to do. And Kirk hit it, all but 0.1% in this song. But yeah, I mean, like I said, immediately got just like Motorhead vibes from like Lars, and you got like Stone Cold Crazy. I think that was like Lars and James, and probably Robert to an extent. But yeah, it was just like this really felt like they were paying, homage to who really influenced them and impacted them, and it gave me like a Garage Inc. but their own mix vibe.
Before we get into Rob, like you just brought up, I want to take it back to the point you just said about how this song flows. To me, this song felt very cinematic. And you might hate me for this comparison, Brian. I hope you don't. But you know how much of a Slipknot fan that I am. And I know their 2001 record, Iowa. The last song, Iowa, is 15 minutes long. And that song feels very cinematic to me. Like, it's just an overall experience. And that's the vibe I have with this song. Like, it is just an experience to behold as you listen to it. And just take it all in and take all the different elements that they put into your eardrums. It's just a ride.
Yeah.
And I think this entire record really is going to sit nicely with all the other discography that Metallica has.
I think this is going to be up there with, I don't know if it will surpass the, if you will, original 4 plus 1, which is the Black Album. Mm-hmm. But it's up there.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think that I made this comparison throughout numerous songs where it gives me load and reload kind of vibes, and it does everything that those two albums did, like, good, and improves on those while eliminating the negatives that most fans and other people may have with those albums, whether they be too mainstream or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll think on that in a second here and give our final rating, but let's talk about Rob here on this song.
Gotta give Rob some props, because he had a solo or not so much a solo, but just a isolated track. Mm-hmm. It was just Rob, and I think there was a Lars hi-hat kind of thrown in there very lightly.
Absolutely, there
but
was.
Boy, did it shine.
Absolutely, my God. And again, not to go back to Slipknot here, but the Paul Gray days of Slipknot, those are the vibes I'm getting. Just like oh my God, dude, whatever you're doing with the bass, keep doing it. Keep growing on it, because, man, it sounds so damn good. I mean, I miss Paul Gray. Not saying Rob gives me Paul Gray vibes, but, like, just the technique that the two share, that's what I love. And that's what I feel like a bass should always kind of sound like.
I'd be interested to compare the two, like, who their influences were and who kind of inspired them and impacted their playing technique, to see if they're similar or not.
Yeah.
For that comparison.
That might be kind of cool to actually look at.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm definitely, you kind of put me in a bad light. I don't hate Slipknot. I don't have a problem with them. I enjoy them, especially, like, what was the one with Psychosocial? Was that the Wait and Bleed album or whatever? That's
All Hope Is Gone.
All Hope Is Gone. I love that album.
Yeah.
Grew up on that album.
Same.
So, it's just, I'd be really interested to kind of do a comparison of just the bass techniques and see who did they share influences? Were they impacted and be like, I want to be like this person when, I grow up, or where I want to play like this person or whatever. Just to see, because you made that comparison. It's very interesting.
Yeah. And I wasn't trying to paint you in a bad light at all. I was just thinking, like, Metallica's over on this side of the spectrum, Slipknot's on the other opposite side of the spectrum. So I'm just like, you might not see the comparison.
Right. I mean, Slipknot is more of kind of like where Rammstein is in like that industrial metal kind of deal.
Yeah.
Where they like bang on a beer keg, which I'm all for. I love it. I think that's amazing.
Love beer kegs.
But Metallica is like Metallica is the old school thrash metal,
Right.
80s into 90s before like Nirvana came along. Like that's what you had. You had like a Metallica cassette, a Megadeth later in the early 90s, or like Anthrax or Slayer, the big four.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely like I see your comparison with Slayer, and I hate to be that guy, but without Metallica, there is no Slayer. And there is no Anthrax, and there is no, Slipknot.
Right.
And that's just the beauty of music, is every band from any genre. I mean, look at, Elvis. How many genres and bands has he influenced, not just in pop or rock or country, but just through every genre.
Right. And I know we've discussed that at length here on the podcast and our various award shows and our Elvis reviews as well. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, influences are really big, and I feel like in our own music that we create, we also take some influence from Metallica and throw it in there a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've said it before. I think a lot of your influence comes from, like, Hank Sr. in terms of storytelling.
Yeah.
And obviously a lot of the music we listen to, like Slipknot or Metallica, plays a big part. And I feel like with this song, like I said before, this feels like Metallica's homage to who influenced them with those Motorhead vibes, who Lars followed around for how many months following their tour bus going, let me just hang out with you. So it really is. It's just like, this is amazing. And if they were trying to do that, they did it. If not, you did it on accident and you nailed it. So keep doing it.
Keep doing it.
Either way, I loved it.
Absolutely. Man.
So with that being said, I think maybe now's the time. Let's move on. What did you think of 72 Seasons, the entire album, on your first listen?
Yeah, Brian, and again, this is an initial listen. I've only listened to all these songs once in this order. I tell you the truth, man. I think this is a pretty solid record. I think I'm sitting at a solid 8.25, 8.5 off this album. And again, I just didn't like the first half of You Must Burn. I thought the transition from 5 to 6 was absolutely atrocious. I don't like it. I wish it didn't exist, but hey, it's their music, not mine. I just consume it. And again, just Too Far Gone felt too much like, as you mentioned, No Remorse from Kill 'Em All, and to me just felt like Megadeth. And again, I'm a bit more of a Megadeth fan, so it was just like, all right, cool, awesome. But no, and I think my favorite song on this record is definitely either going to be Room of Mirrors or Chasing Light, but I'm leaning more toward Room of Mirrors. It used to be based off the previous single, 72 Seasons, but once we heard it on this, I said, nah, I don't like this one.
Yeah, you did say that Lux Eterna became your favorite after 72 Seasons,
yep.
But obviously now that's changed. So,
yep.
So yeah, I mean, what you said what your favorite song would be. What was your least favorite song? Just in general, not so much in terms of like where it is in the track listing, but what was your least favorite song in terms of everything?
Yeah, if I take away You Must Burn, how much I didn't like the first half of that song rather, I would say honestly, I would probably take off If Darkness Had a Sun. I feel like it kind of does a bit of a retread of Chasing Light in a sense. I know it's the other side of it, but it kind of feels like you're chasing the same theme again. So, I don't know. I like Chasing Light a little bit better than that one. Yeah. But other than that, everything else can stay.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't take anything off this album. I think this album was put together very well, with the exception of track 5 and the 6. I just think that wasn't a very good transition in songs. If they do press it in like a double album where 6 is on the second, side or whatever, I get it, but it won't be.
Right.
Especially with the last song being like 10 minutes, 9 minutes.
I think it's like 11 minutes.
So there's no way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't take anything off this album. I don't think anything does this album bad. Mm-hmm. I think in terms of my favorite song off this album, it's tough. Like I still like Lux Eterna, but in the context of things, I think either Shadows Follow or Chasing Light were my two favorites that I just really, really enjoyed. And again, that might change on a re-listen. But as it stands right now, I'm sitting at an 8.5 out of 10.
All right. So not too far from where I said.
Right.
Cool.
Again, and Kill 'Em All to me is like, I don't like to give anything a 10 out of 10. So I give Kill 'Em All, which is my favorite album, like a 9.8 out of 10. And like everything else from then until like Black Album goes from like 0.1 points. Like it's like the John Wick series for me. But this one is definitely for me above Hardwired. It's above, Load and Reload, and it's above obviously Saint Anger. But yeah, I just think this is a very solid, 12-song record. I'd be interested if they do like what they did for Death Magnetic with a Beyond Magnetic, was like a 4-song EP where they just they had 4 extra songs, which I bought at FYE for $9.95. So I'd be interested to see if they do something like that, and if they have like 4 more songs, because I'd be all about it.
Yeah, same here. And at the end of the day, man, like you said, this is just an initial listen. I've got the vinyl coming in the mail in the next couple of days, so we're definitely gonna take another listen to the vinyl.
I'm gonna take a listen to the other albums too. I really want to, after listening to this, I want to revisit Kill 'Em All, Load and Reload, and Garage Days specifically. But I'm gonna revisit all of them and just kind of see, what influence they pull from each album.
Yeah, I think that's probably a smart idea as well. Because I only listened to like the first 4 to get up here, and Hardwired. I listen to Hardwired as well. So. But yeah, once I get the vinyl, we're going to take a listen to it, and then we're going to give you our full, like, cohesion as we live with this record for a little bit, so...
Right.
Not bad for a first listen, I'd say, Brian.
No, I think this was a very enjoyable experience, especially when we got the new songs that we hadn't heard. I think the one for me that kind of was just like, okay, Metallica's back, was Shadows Follow.
Yeah.
Track 2 was like, all right, we're here. And, you got through them, and then you got to, like, Chasing Light, which was like, all right, Metallica is legit back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can tell James is, like, really passionate about this project, and Lars is passionate, and Rob is passionate.
Kirk, passionate, but...
Kirk is, I don't know, and I'm not, this is not me bad-mouthing Kirk. I think Kirk is a great guitarist in his own right. He's kind of like Yngwie Malmsteen, where he's really good at one thing. He just, Yngwie Malmsteen can arpeggio, and he's great at it. But, like, other than that, that's all he's got. Kirk has really just got that wah pedal, hammer-on pull-off right around, like, 12 frets. That's what he's got. So, it is what it is. I think this is what you expect from a Metallica record in terms of Kirk. But the other 3, James, Rob, and Lars, blew me away.
Yeah. So listeners, let us know your initial reactions to 72 Seasons from Metallica. You can do that by emailing us at allstarsentertainment18@gmail.com. That's allstarsentertainment18@gmail.com. In the meantime, look forward to our 72 Seasons cohesive review, because again, this might have been all over the place as this was an initial reaction, so definitely stay tuned for that. Brian, any last final thoughts you have on the 72 Seasons record?
I'm excited for the tour. I'm excited for the show. We're going to go see the 2-night show that we're going to see where they're doing, I believe they're with Pantera.
Yes.
Mammoth, Van Halen.
Yep. Five Finger Death
Punch. And somebody else that we don't know, but if they're not good, we're going to eat dinner during their set.
There you go.
But regardless, this is really a great sign and gets me really excited for their upcoming tour.
Mm-hmm. Before we sign off, the song I'm looking forward to hearing the most live is honestly Shadows Follow.
I'm with you. Either that or Chasing Light.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see both of them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, as always, folks, you've been listening to the All Stars Entertainment Podcast. I'm Colin.
And I'm Brian.
And we'll see you on the next one.